Experts in every field agree on the transformative power of systems. And that's a quote by Mark Joyner. And thanks again, or thanks for the first time, for tuning in to The Profitable Photographer. Today is part two of my talk about in person sales. If you haven't listened to part one, it's an in depth explanation of, for me, why it is a powerful and important system. That's why I quoted this to get the most from every photo session, and also many reasons why it is an amazing thing to do to benefit our clients. So have a listen to that or listen again after this, whichever you like. Um, so today I'm going to be hands-on how to. You might want to, if you've listened to this, you might want to tune into the YouTube video because I'm showing the details with photographs. So it might make more sense. But still, I know you'll get benefits from listening if you don't watch it. So, oh my gosh, I am filled with joy from being at the Professional Photographers of America's Imaging USA in Grapevine, Texas. It was in this amazing property that's like a big dome, and under the dome is a little river, plants, decor, and food and meeting rooms and hotel rooms and everything, all at 72 degrees. And I cannot express the amount of energy and connection, the conversations, the buzz, the pride of people receiving awards and dressed up in their best, getting their master's or craftsman or other ribbons and medallions, celebrating their achievements. I got to hug about 40 people that have been on this show. Of course, because I've been in this organization for 40 years, which I highly recommend for a zillion reasons. I've known a lot of people, or I have connections to get me to invite people I haven't met yet on this show. And a lot of them are participants in the state and national and local chapters of Professional Photographers of America. I strongly encourage you to join. First of all, you get $15,000 worth of equipment insurance, and I used to pay $400 a month, no, a year for that. So for me, it's basically free. You get indemnification. So if something were to happen and you need some support, PPA is there for you. There's a whole team, there's a whole department to help you navigate around some problems that you might have. And there's so much education. It's a family. This organization has been around 150 years. Nothing's perfect. The shows don't always um, appear exactly like we want. Somebody was unhappy with the food at the party and probably hasn't been around when Kodak and Fuji used to sponsor those. Uh, but there's so much to love. And uh, anyway, I'm just ranting about it and ranting about the show. The dancing, even if you don't like to dance, the closing party especially will just get you moving. So, all right, on with today's show. So, let's see. So just a little quick review of the last episode. My why starts with giving the full experience to clients and having the opportunity to sit with them and see what they love, which brings me joy and it also helps me be a better photographer. And of course, I love the additional income, when you sit with somebody and you help them step by step, it's very powerful. And it connects us with our clients. Now, we have to have a system in place. The system starts with, first of all, how we put ourselves out there in the world, our brand. And then when someone reaches out to us or we get a possible contact, what we do from the first phone call. Yes, I said phone call. And notice if you're watching this, I'm using my fingers like it's an old-fashioned telephone. So maybe I'll hold up my cell phone for you. Having a great conversation that starts to form connections with your clients. And then having a consultation, I recommend in person, if at all possible, so that we can show them art on the walls. We can sit down with them and step by step go through the do's and don'ts, the agreements, help plan the session, and just form that lovely connection that is very different when you're online. Then, when I'm teaching a sales course, which I actually do have an online course that's available, we talk about things you do at a session to prepare them for the wall portrait and album purchase. And then, of course, there's the step by step how to do it. And I'm going to launch that here in a minute. And it's also important to learn how to handle objections. One thing that's beautiful about being in a business like ours, and especially if we are going to have personal relations with our clients that are rather in depth, it's important to have expectations of what they might bring up as a way to push back a little bit. And also, it's important to um, yeah, so it's important to expect it, and it's important to have some answers. For example, if someone asks about digitals, we need to be prepared for an answer for that. Now, my first step with objections is always to ask a question. Why are you asking about digitals? Then I can find out if they're wanting to save money, or they're wanting to print themselves, or they're wanting to have it as an archive. And I have different answers for each of those. So that's just a little, handling objections. And the more you do this, the more you do it in person, the more you will become comfortable responding. And if you listen to me at all regularly, you might hear me say that the foundation of sales is to position yourself as a trusted advisor. I'm going to have a little pause here so I can figure out what is making me cough. So, one sec. Okay, so one of the things I'm going to do here is I'm going to be showing pictures. And like I said, you might want to check this out. I'm going to run a slideshow, and I haven't figured out how to get music uh, in Zoom for this. So hum along or play a little mood music while you're watching this little 2-minute show. So let's see. Here are my steps before I start. Number one, when my clients come over, I make them comfortable, ask if they want something to drink. I don't serve food. I don't serve alcohol. Unless if they're going to be here for a long time, like if it's a wedding, then we might order sandwiches in or pizza or something, because if it's like during their lunchtime and such, we want them to be comfortable. And yes, some people might be here for 3 hours plus, but they might spend $10,000. So between my clients and I haven't found a lot of pushback with that. Uh, so let's see. So I have them come in, and then I've set my room up. So you can see this back wall. I have everything on wheels in this small room. It's like 14 by 10. I have a small round table, like I think it's 32 or 36 inches on wheels, and I have four nice looking desk chairs. And when I'm having the consultation, I have the table set up in the middle of the room. And, we like lean in and talk, and I show them books and go over the pricing on a little piece, nice paper that is part of the package. When it's time for the show, I roll the chairs to the back of the room and make a theater. My projector is back there. I recommend you get a quality projector. It doesn't have to be perfect, just bright enough so you can basically see the images. We were talking about this at the PPA event with, I think it was Tavis Guild of Guild Canvassing. And he suggests not having it too great because we want the finished product to look better than what they see on the screen. Uh, and my first digital projector that I paid $3,500 for was bad. The images were bad, but I still had sales in three, four, five, 10, $15,000 with that, which number one, when you're about to buy a projector and you're thinking, oh, I don't want to pay that money, it's going to pay you back in the first sale. Almost everybody I know that's done that has told me that was true. Alrighty, so I have a movie screen at the front. So I don't know which way is the front. That away, that it pulls down in front of my window, so it helps it get dark. And it's maybe 8 feet wide. Now, why don't I use a television? Wouldn't it be cool for me to have a bigger television in this room? Why? You might ask. Well, here is the reason. Number one, I want to be able to show not only horizontal images 6 feet wide, but vertical. I've had sales of 40 and 60-inch prints that were tall many, many times. And most TVs, unless you, I don't know how big a TV, it would have to be like 12 feet wide to be like 7 feet tall, something like that. The other thing is, there's a couple of little secret sauces I'm going to tell you about. And one of them is that I can show the image on a white board, like if you're watching, like this. And I just hold it away from the screen, just a couple inches, and all of a sudden it looks like a finished piece of art. And it takes it from the digital TV, movies, kind of mental understanding to actually a finished print. So that gets them thinking about, oh, that would look great over my mantle or something like that. Um, okay, so moving on, they come on in. I've got everything set up like a little theater. I'm in the back with them. And I learned that I was doing something right when I took a workshop with Steve Saporito, he's been on my show and he's awesome. He's now working with Ronan Ryle in their program. Anywho, that the way we want to position our bodies is, think of it, would be kind of not really a J, but the clients are lined up, and then I'm in the corner where this picture of the little boy is, and I'm turned so that if I look to my left, I can see them. And if I look to my right, I can see the projector. So I'm part of the experience watching it, rather than either turning like an L, which can be a little intimidating to be staring right at them, or turning completely to the screen. Something I also learned from Steve is, so that one I was already doing. This one I like, and he suggests that we get them settled, and then while we're standing with our arms to our sides and our palms open, we tell them how this is going to go. So they feel comfortable, um, kind of like a pilot telling you how the winds are, and we expect to get there a little early, and all the things that if you look to the left, you'll see, I don't know, the Tower of London or something. Anyway, so I say this. I'm going to take you through a series of steps. And all you need to do is tell me yes, no, and maybe. And then when we get to the point where we've got everything sorted, then we'll pick your best. We'll design the art for your home together in the appropriate sizes, and we'll take care of the whatever the investment is. We'll take care of that today. And when you go out the door, I get to work on it. I also am very clear with them. Now, remember, we're going to make all our decisions today. There's no coming back. I'm in no hurry. I've suggested them more than once in advance. Please don't have anything you need to do after we're together, because if we run long and you have to come back, it's like we start all over. And also, I'm going to potentially charge them a fee for that. I never have, but the threat is powerful. All right, so also, I tell them, I'm going to do a slideshow. I just want you to enjoy. This is not everything that you're going to see and select from today, but instead of thinking, oh, I like this better than that, or I don't look good in that, watch this show and just enjoy. Every image in it, I thought you would get some enjoyment out of. Then we're going to go through and do yes, no, maybes, and we're just going to remove the ones that are clearly something you're not interested in. Then we'll go through and we'll look at ones that are very similar and narrow down a little more there. Then I'm going to put the images in one of three categories, and it's the highest potential. So if it could be a wall portrait, we'll put it there. If it would be best as a small tabletop, I'll put it there. If it would only be something that could go in a book, then we'll put it there. Now, sometimes at that point, people will say, I don't want a book or I don't want a wall portrait. I just say, I've got this system. We're going to do it step by step. And at the point where we get to ordering, of course, you don't have to purchase anything you don't want, but it's just my way of organizing. So any questions on that? Oh, you're not live. So all right. And then so I might have, yeah, I told you be sure that they know that this is the time they're going to order. Now, if for some reason you cannot do it in person and you're going to do Zoom, make it very, very clear several times over, not just an email, not just one time at the consultation, but repeat this, that this is the time you're going to be viewing and ordering. You need to make sure that your kids are handled and won't be interrupting, that you don't have somewhere to be. Um, this is going to be a great experience for you, and there's a lot to choose from. So just keep in mind that that's how this goes. This is the time you're going to see them and order them. Another thing that some people don't remember to do is, if you're doing Zoom, is to invite them to plug their laptop or their iPad or whatever they're viewing into their computer, because at least then they will see them larger than just the little on a computer. Um, Now, sometimes you may think, oh, they live out of town, so I have to do Zoom. But pre-Zoom, I was able to meet with many, many clients that came here from out of town. I live in San Diego. It's a tourist town. Usually, my ideal clients, when they're coming to town and they want a portrait, they're here for enough time that we can do the session early in their trip, and then I can edit, and then we can have a show later. Now, if it's a big family group, I'll bring my projector and I have uh, it's like a little tripod movie screen, like no, it sounds like, and I'll set up a little theater in there. Usually they'll have a suite or a vacation rental or something if it's a family group. And my system with them is that we do all of the sorting until the the time to order. And then each family group, so the mom and dad, or if it's just the mom that will be spending the money, just her, she gets her time with me, and we go through the ones that are in the wall small and album, and we make her own little groups. And depending on the software that you will use for this, like if you use Bridge, I'm going to show this to you on Bridge. You can also do it on Lightroom. And of course, the creme de la creme, which is Pro Select, also Fundy. And I know there's other ones. Um, but anyway, where was I? So you can use, I use stars on Bridge, and then I'll do colors for individual family members as much as I can to sort these through. So, and there's good money in those big family groups, and especially you don't want to be posting online. Um, Another especially is that I highly recommend you don't post a gallery. First of all, people may take the images and aren't people that would normally steal, but don't really get it that it's really not cool that we are, we're not big, rich, fat cats that can afford to lose good sales on our hard work. Uh, okay. And also, it's really hard to make decisions on our own. Even when I had wedding pictures, I needed, first of all, to transfer them to some slide proofing, even though I had the paper proof, to pick my wall art and have somebody sit with me and get their thoughts and opinions. Okay, let's see. So, how do I start? Uh, okay, I'm going to do the slideshow. So, as I said, slideshow, then yes, no, maybe. Then the best of sort of similar ones. Oh, yeah, something else I want you to know that's important. A lot of people work hard to narrow down, so they're just showing the best. I will show for a portrait session, I will show maybe 80 or 90 if I have that many that are good to great, which I usually do because I do a lot of different things during a session. You'll see this in the slideshow and as I go through this system as if you're the client. But I leave in some that I know will not stay in so that they leave in maybe 40 pictures. So I can have a book and I can sell them 7 large portraits and a collection of smalls. But if I show them 35, they're going to narrow down to 20 or 18. So um, better is better. I always say, like, okay, if you were like, if I was like, do you want this Sharpie? You'd say yes or no. If I said, let's pretend this is a Sharpie too. If do you want the black Sharpie or the blue Sharpie or the red Sharpie? The chances are at least one's going to stay and maybe even two for the time being. So don't worry about that. Oh, I missed one of the most important steps that I tell my clients, and I'm telling you. And I think that when I came up with this idea, it upped my sales average at least by 50%. Once I've got the wall, small, and album categories, I do a slideshow of just the potential wall group and I run through it twice. And this phrase that I came up with, I'll give credit where credit's due, but I'm giving myself credit for this. I want you to watch. So we're going to run through a slideshow of the ones that we put in the wall group. I want you to watch when I run through it twice, which ones give you, and then you can choose your adjective. My friend Joel Treadwell says, which one touches your heart? Or you might say gives you a really wonderful feeling or makes you gasp, whatever fits for you at the time. And when we do it a second time, you're going to notice you feel that same way. This is the money word. And that is what you're going to feel every day for the rest of your life if you order these, meaning the ones that gave you the tingles. This is what you're going to feel every day for the rest of your life if you order these as wall art. So we're future pacing them. We're introducing them to the idea that as they live in their home, they're gonna keep looking at this art of people they love and could be a solo of them, but they're still a person they love. Let's hope. All right. Okay. So let's see if I can get this slideshow up and running. And my apologies if you can't watch it, but I'm sure you can tune into it sometime. And this is a photographer friend of mine. And so I thought it'd be a fun one to show. She was in Coronado in San Diego on vacation, and people at Texas School had mentioned to her that I, I, that I was a professional doing family portraits, and so we had a. Okay, so now I'm ready to do the slideshow, and for some reason the music doesn't play in Zoom. I've tried settings, so it's fun if you turned on some mood music or sang your favorite love song along the way. Now, keep in mind, first of all, I might have already said this, but for some reason on my computer, they're not as sharp as they actually are. But these are what I call proofs. I did gentle editing just for show on Adobe Camera Raw. And I prefer that to Lightroom, but you can do all the same things in Lightroom. And you'll see there's like stray hairs, which will be fixed in, in Photoshop with what they order. I don't spend a lot of time prepping. I might do a couple of head swaps. Let's say there's a family and there's an image that could be like ideal for the whole group, but there's a couple people that could be better. I've learned how to stack photographs in in Photoshop and quickly paint in and change faces and things. So I'll do some of that because it can pay off, but I don't do a ton. Or if there's something where someone has quite a bit of lines or acne, I might do one that softens those so people can see how it can look. One little trick, and I make sure to always undo this before I open a file to do real editing, is I'll move the clarity slider a little to the left. If something could use just a little softening or set a tiny mood, like right now I've got a little softening on my Zoom recording. And so I might do it about like this for some of the images, but I would never go to print or deliver ones that had this global, gooey kind of filter on it. All right. So I'm going to screen share and sorry, there's no music again, but and I'm not sure if I said this. This is Rosalie McShane's family. She's a wonderful photographer. I think she's in Texas. She was sent to me from the people that run Texas School when she was coming to San Diego between Christmas and New Year's. And you're going to be quite jealous of the light. There was just the right clouds and sunset, and it was an amazing, amazing day. So screen sharing here. Here we go. And now here's the show. Okie dokie. So I'm gonna, if you're watching, you'll see this is the main image that they used over their fireplace. And you can see the stray hairs are tamed, but not completely gone. This was before AI, so there might even be potentials to have it be even um, more natural. I can see, I'm kind of picky. Anyway, and if you're listening and not watching, um, yeah, get over and watch it. All right, so I'm going to show you as if you're my client, and they'll still value, I'm not going to go through every single thing, but okay, so oops. All right. So I'm starting now. I have a gallery that has, I think I left about 30 some images, which of course is not what I told you I do. Usually leave in 80. But so we'd go through this and we'd do yes, no, maybe. And I do 3 stars. Yes, no, maybe. 3 stars. Yes, no, maybe. So we're going through all of these and I'm putting 3 stars on everything that has any potential. Now, because I've already edited this a lot, there's, right now they all have. So let's go back to this one. So maybe that'd be a no for some people. Some people love it. She said she likes the candids, so she definitely left this in. Okay, so we're going through all of these, and there's uh, 3 stars on all of them. Okay, so now I'm going to go through and I'm going to look at the ones that are very similar. So, for example, I might have these two, and I might say, okay, which do you prefer? Number one or two? Two or one? So let's say we decide we like this with the reflections. So I'm going to put a number two, or if I was doing it in iPhoto, which or photos, which I pretty much used and all the time until they changed it from iPhoto to photos, then some of my tools are missing. Um, or I would just take it out if it was Pro Select. And so let's see what else might be similar. I did leave in some. Okay, so I don't consider a close up and a full length similar or a walking similar. So if this and when this was an actual sale, I had a couple versions of each of those poses. Same with this walking. Now the girls, I might go, okay, which do you prefer, number one or number two? Two or one or both? And so we keep narrowing down, narrowing down, narrowing down. Let's see if there's others that are, I just left a few in that were super similar. And again, if they're looking at the camera or they're looking away from the camera, like this one is similar to one of the other sunset ones, which probably would have been a no right off the bat. Yeah. Okay. So heading down, you can, yeah. All right. So that is what I do. And then I guess I'm not going to demo it because I think you can get it that we would do wall, small, and album from this point. So I'll just kind of mirror that. So I show this full, 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 full. I don't do a lot of actual side by side comparisons. So I'd say, okay, what's the best use of this? Wall, small, or album? And I remind it, potential. If they start to say, well, you know, let's just pick the family groups because that's what we want, I ignore that in a really nice way. And I say, the game we're playing now, sometimes I say we're doing reindeer games, is we're just looking at each one for the artistry and the impact, whether or not it's what you initially came here for. There might be some that you consider as art in your home for another space. So, where should this go? Wall, small, or album? Okay, I'm going to put that in wall. Wall, smaller album. And we go through each one. Oh, one other big rule. In the yes, no, maybe, we don't go back and forth. It only tangles us up. When we just keep going forward with our decisions, uh, then it's a lot easier not to get overwhelmed because that's going to happen. Also, you want to pay attention. Let's say somebody says, oh, this is a no. If you're looking at it, it's a picture. If you're listening, it's a picture of three girls and they look great and they're smiling at the camera. One of them's braces are showing. So if the mom would say no to that, and I'm thinking, that's a really nice photograph, I would ask her why. And so she might say, she really didn't want her braces to show. And I can say, well, these days, if you want her to have no braces, that's something I can do for you. Let's see. So let's see. So we've got the wall group. And then, as I said, I'm going to get back to my face here. Uh, then we do the slideshow of the wall. Again, we run through it twice. We mention that they want to notice the ones that give them the tingles, the warm their heart. And we remind them that if they order those images as art, they're going to feel that every day for the rest of their life. Let's see. And I'm going to pause here because I might have given you most of the tips. Oh, okay. So that was the one big tip, the wall grouping and then run through it twice. And the others, I just touched on the boards, but I want to tell you how I use it. As I'm showing, it may be during yes, no, maybe, or it may be during the comparisons. When there's an image that I feel like, oh my gosh, that would be incredible as art, I get up out of my chair and I walk to the front. So I'm sitting back there. I walk to the front. I grab a board, usually a 30 by 40 or a square 30 by 30, and I hold it up and I hear them go, oh. And especially, let's say it would be good as a panorama. Like if you're watching, there's a panorama above my head that would not look great in a traditional rectangle because there'd be too much sky and too much ground. Um, it starts to give them the feeling that it's a piece of art. And yeah, so at least a couple times I do that. Then later when we've narrowed down and the wall group, we go through and discover which ones were the ones that really stood out. Then I put the rest either down in the small group or the album group. And then I batch arrange the images so that the family ones are together, the kids by themselves are together, parents by themselves, and so forth. So then we just start planning art for their walls. And I usually like my ideal client and session, a large portrait that's got a lot of nature and beauty for a main living space, and then something that's like fun of the family that's got more faces is another single wall portrait. And then I always think about groupings. So like maybe something wonderful of the kids together and then a single wall art of the kids separately. And we imagine that as a wall grouping. Um, I call it a story group. Let's see if there's anything else you need to know. I'm going to pause again another sec and think. Okay, so I remembered one thing I wanted to mention. There is wonderful tools where you can do what's called a room view and put the photographs in a photograph that you show them how it would look. What I'm going for is a strong emotional impact. And that is available when they see it large. Now, if I was doing a Zoom sale, I would mock up like two rooms with maybe five photographs total, one that's like a living room with a really nice wall portrait of something I like, and then maybe another one that has a group of three or something, three or four, let's say 20 by 20s, 24 by 24s, something like that, to just get them thinking about the potential since they're not going to see it 6 feet wide and 6 feet tall, most likely. All right. I think that's it. And of course, I would love any questions or connections. Go to lucidumas.com, Lucy with an I, if you want to schedule a quick chat about anything. And please, please, please consider sharing this with your photographer friends. If you're in a community of photographers, please share this show with them if you haven't thought about doing that. In order to keep going, this is pretty much a labor of love. I need people to be watching. And I did learn at the conference that there were a lot of people listening. And I also got to meet a lot of new potential guests. So stay tuned for that. And I'm just going to send you a big um, hug that includes a hug from all the people that were at the conference that I met. And now I'm going to have a dance party. Not really. Anyway, that's it. And stay tuned for my next episode. Bye.